Hey everyone, Charai5 here, and with a new year, we have a new Sonic game to talk about. In this case, it is Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I talked about it briefly because we saw the release trailer, or the announcement trailer for the game back when I did my Year of Shadow sort of recap stream. They're currently doing their closed network test for people who have PlayStation, and I realized that I haven't really made a dedicated video about this game. Like, when it came to the announcement trailer, like, I kept that as part of the stream. I didn't like release a reaction on it. There was a Sony State of Play that also featured like a gameplay trailer for it that I also, you know, I had just released the Everything Wrong with Shadow Generations video, so like I didn't want to upload my reaction to it right away. But I did know that I wanted to talk more in depth about like what was in it, because there was a lot that we saw as part of that State of Play trailer. And there's a lot that we've learned since. I was actually really surprised because I thought like, oh, we're probably not going to hear much about this game until closer to when it releases. And I don't know when exactly it's releasing. I know it's sometime in this year. But there is quite a bit that we can glean just from the trailers themselves. Like, I only really watched the trailer and I haven't really gone in depth and analyzed every single part of it. I did watch it one more time after I recorded my reaction, which I'll show you right now.
Oh, this looks like... what the heck? This is very Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games-ish. Whoa! There's Jet. Sage, dude! Sage is in a car! Yo! Playable Sage! Is that a Chow? Is that just a regular old Chow? I hope this is a lot more fun than Team Sonic Racing was, because I think Team Sonic Racing is fun. I just think it's a little bland. Is my problem. Well, not a little, a lot bland. Okay. Yo, Secret Rings? No way! No way! This is from Secret Rings, what? Nuh-uh. Extreme Gear! Oh, you can ride Extreme Gear as Sonic as well, dude! What is this? Is this after... oh, it is just Sega and All-Stars Racing, isn't it? Wait, no, what's this? This seems like it's from Skies of Arcadia. But I don't think it is. This has to be from... that is Dino Jungle from... right? Or am I just completely tripping? Okay, so we get the premise of what this game is, but...
as you can hear, I'm still recovering from that sickness. It got a lot worse after I recorded that. I was coming down with it when I recorded it. As you can hear, I'm just now recovering from it. But there is a lot to dissect, I think, from that trailer too. And I would like to go into it a bit more in depth, analyze it, because again, I thought it was just going to be that State of Play trailer, and then that was it. We weren't going to hear about it for a while until closer to when it released. We wouldn't hear about it until like a Sonic Central or something, right? Like, not in any sort of dedicated fashion. And I think it's interesting because shortly after that trailer, you know, certain gaming outlets got their hands on the like a demo version of the game that I guess they're now putting into our hands for their network connectivity, which I think is a good thing, so that because they're testing it out, and the hopes are that they would try to improve on whatever connectivity issues would come up. But I guess time will tell. But I do want to go through that trailer with you guys and see what we can see, because again, there's more to discuss after that, based off of like the IGN hands-on thing and stuff that's come out since, like stuff that's not even in this trailer.
Because here's the thing too, this is something I noticed. If you look at the logo, Sonic Racing, that is just a new brand now. Team Sonic Racing, Sonic parentheses and Sega All-Stars Racing. That's when I realized, like, oh wait, the Sonic Racing brand has existed for years and we just never really realized that. I don't know enough about it, and someone who is more versed in it than I could tell me. But this is also something that I'm very curious about. Does this branding remind anybody of Sonic Prime? Because I still haven't watched Prime, but does anybody else get like huge Sonic Prime vibes from this?
I did think it looked similar to Prime, and one of the things that they announced was that, like, if you get the digital deluxe version, you're going to get characters from or based off of Sonic Prime. And the funny thing is, in the metadata, it did say something about, like, drifting across dimensions. And my initial thought, and I thought that I talked about this during the stream, but I can't find any clip of me saying it. They've kind of been sort of teasing these dimensional warp rings in Frontiers and Shadow Generations, where, you know, in Frontiers, it was basically in, like, an alternate timeline from the base game's ending, where it's just like, it's the same, but just slightly different. Like, what happens in it is very slightly different. In one ending, you play as Sonic throughout, you go Supersonic, you fight the end in its moon form, and then in another story, you play as Tails, Amy, Knuckles, go Supersonic, fight the Supreme End, and you do that by going through a warp ring. And that's never really taken us to another timeline or to another dimension. But with Shadow Generations, it straight up takes you to another world. They don't call it another dimension per se, they just call it another world. They call it the world of movies. And so I think this might have just been a thought I had that I didn't verbalize anywhere, but my initial thought when it came to that was, in terms of its lore, what if the whole point is like, hey, let's bring across all kinds of different Sonic characters from all reaches of the different dimensions that we're currently developing into one game, into one roster. And to me, like, if you know me and if you've heard me talk about some characters before, particularly characters in, for example, the comics, the IDW comics, I've often said that, like, I don't like the idea of them introducing the characters that have been introduced in the IDW comics as if they had always been in this world, because while that may be true in the comics, and the comics are canon to the games, I don't like that in terms of storytelling, because all of a sudden, you know, we don't know who these characters are, but they're familiar with the characters that we already know. And I think that Sonic Racing CrossWorlds would be a fantastic opportunity to incorporate a lot. And I know that they've been in games before, such as Sonic Forces Speed Battle, but being a mobile game that is not very gameplay heavy, I feel like that counts just a little less, in my opinion. That's just me. I personally don't play it. I know, I'm not even saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think that is a proper way for mass audiences to get acquainted with these characters. Whereas I feel like with Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, I don't know if it's going to have a story. My money is on it having one, just because I know that Dodonpa is going to be in this. Most likely not going to be a racer. And I feel like they created the character of Dodonpa in Team Sonic Racing precisely so that you could have a character that justifies having these racing games every single time, where it's just like, oh, here's Dodonpa again, let's go on a kart racing adventure. I can't imagine the story's going to be too complicated. I can't see it being any more complicated than Free Riders, than Team Sonic Racing, but I do think that they are going to have that, like, oh, all these characters are talking to each other. It's like, oh, wow, it's a Sonic from another dimension, all that kind of stuff. But I think that CrossWorlds would be a fantastic opportunity to do that. To, like, here's movie Sonic, here's movie Shadow, here's 9 from Sonic Prime, here's all the IDW characters in this kart racer. I don't know how many characters it's going to have, but this announced trailer was the way that we learned about a lot of the characters that are going to be in it that we know of so far. So let's take a look. So the initial vibes this gave me was that, like, this was kind of a Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games kind of thing, which is really weird. But then once I actually finally watched it, I'm like, this gives me more sort of Electrodrome vibes from Mario Kart 8. You know what I mean? It is very Mario Kart. Very Mario Kart. But then, like, they're doing the exact same thing Mario Kart. I feel like, because Team Sonic Racing was already like, oh, it's the Mario Kart clone, right? Like, any kart racer is unfortunately going to have to hold up to Mario Kart. But this one specifically, I feel like Team Sonic Racing still had kind of like the Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing identity. This right here screams Mario Kart to me. Like, they looked at what Mario Kart was doing and they're like, okay, we need to do that. Like, let's stop messing around. This is what we need to do. And already by itself, like, you see so many things. You see a lot of, like, the background characters, the pit crew. They are modeled after, like, the avatars from Forces, which I think is really cute. You know, like, they're all these, you know, generic animal characters in the stands. You see the Chow is, like, 2D animated, like, in the stands, also, like, watching the race. But then the most Mario Kart thing is these fake advertisements for stuff in the world. And one thing that you see a lot is Donpa Motors, Donpa Airlines. So we know that Dodonpa is going to be here. And there's like is that also Donpa Airlines? You have an advertisement for Chaos Island from Frontiers. You have an advertisement for Kronos Island in Frontiers. There are other little advertisements that are a little skewed so I can't see it. Like there's a wheel thing there. I believe this pink one to the side is an Extreme Gear, which again was revealed in this trailer, and I went nuts over it. On this initial like roster that you see like coming out of these portals already was huge in terms of like, oh my god, who's going to be in this? So first appearance of playable Sage in a car that looks like Giganto, which I think is adorable. Like I'm so happy that we get to play as Sage. She might be one of the characters that, like I try out first. We have Vector, we have Eggman, we have Metal Sonic, Shadow, Sonic, Knuckles, Jet. Sonic does ride I think an Extreme Gear in one of the scenes, just to show that like Jet's not the only character that rides an Extreme Gear. But that was like holy hell to me. Like, oh my god, Jet is in this game in an Extreme Gear, not in a car. Amy, Cream is huge because like when was the last time Cream was even playable in anything? I genuinely, aside from like, you know, Sonic Speed Simulator on Roblox, I can't remember the last time she was playable in anything. Tails and then Silver, and like that's the roster that we're shown initially. There are still other characters that they do show off later on. One of the things that I don't like about these kart racers specifically is that like I feel like I can never remember what their cars look like. So if these cars, I'm pretty sure that like Knuckles, Amy, Tails' cars are new, but I'm not sure because I don't commit them to memory. I'm pretty sure Eggman's is new too, I think. And you can tell that there's going to be like personality in this too. Like I've seen some people complaining about like, oh, you know, you're not the same, you don't have any charm. But I think that this game is going to have a lot of charm in terms of like the animations, in terms of like, I don't know if the characters are going to keep talking to each other the way that they did in Team Sonic Racing. There's a part of me that kind of hopes they do, because like that was an aspect of Team Sonic Racing that I quite liked, was like the characters interacting with each other. We like it when the characters talk to each other, and granted, it can be a little overbearing sometimes, but I hope that they do strike that balance of like, okay, funny lines, and also like, I just love the interactions between some of these characters. Because it does look like they've dropped the team mechanic entirely, I think, and it's a lot more like a Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing game. Like, initially, I thought that was just a chow. I didn't even realize that Cream was in this when I first watched this. And now it's just so... Oh, Omega? Omega's in this too? That's right. I didn't even see Omega. I don't think Omega was in that initial lineup. Big's here? Big is here? Yeah, that was something else that I noticed. It was that, like, okay, if we have Team Sonic, we have Amy, Big, and Cream, that's Team Rose. We have Shadow and Omega so far, but I believe there's like a banner for Rouge somewhere here. Like, I think it's coming up, but we'll see like characters on a banner, and I'm like, wait, that has to, because I think like Jet is on a banner, and we know that Jet is playable, so do the banners mean that the other characters are playable too? If so, I know Rouge is on a banner. That most likely means she's playable. That means that Team Dark is entirely playable too. Vector's here so far. Oh, Dodonpa Holdings. Yeah, here. Okay, so we see Jet, right? We know Jet is playable, and we see this new... this render for Rouge is technically new.
I was wrong about this. Please ignore me. This is the artwork I thought I was talking about. This is a render from Sonic Runners, which was old.
But if Jet is playable, and he's on this sort of like electronic banner, and Rouge is alongside him, as we see, that must mean Rouge is playable too, right? And if she is, that means that the entirety of Team Dark is playable as well. That's 3 out of the 4 teams. Vector is playable, and I'm wondering, like, if Espio and Charmy are not playable, that would be very surprising given all the other characters that they're giving us so far. I feel like that'd be really weird if they didn't allow us to play as the entirety of Team Chaotix. This was the part that absolutely blew me away. Like, I think that more than seeing Jet returning, Sage as playable, more than that, this blew my mind. Oh, and I can confirm that this is a Warp Ring now. Okay, I thought I was completely, like, losing my mind. I'm like, this has to be Dinosaur Jungle, right? This has to be from Secret Rings. Because, like, the pterodactyls and, like, the fruit and the way the mushrooms are set up, I'm like, this has to be Dinosaur Jungle from Secret Rings, right? Like, there's a... What? But then I thought, like, wait, that's brilliant, right? Like, if we're already, like, trying to bring and incorporate every aspect of of the Sonic mythology, instead of like having Shara or Razor Jin or whatever as playable characters, having tracks based off of locations from those games. You know, it's the world of books, the same way that like the movies would be considered the world of movies. To me, it was brilliant. It was a fantastic idea. And like the kinds of dinosaurs that they decided to show off too, I'm just like, this has to be Dinosaur Jungle. And then here's where you see Sonic on the Extreme Gear. I do wonder if, I would assume so, but if the Extreme Gear and the cars are going to control the same. And then this, I was completely confused about what this was. And I feel really stupid because, dude, we've never seen a different version of this. And in All Stars Racing, I believe Transformed had a stage that looked similar to this, I believe, and I think it was Afterburner. And I think that's why I said, like, is that Afterburner? It's Metal Harbor, dude. It's Metal Harbor from Adventure 2. I lost my mind when I learned that. And I think I learned that while watching the IGN video. I'm like, whoa, wait, that's Metal Harbor? And then I saw more references to it. I'm like, oh my god, that makes so much more sense than it being... Because I was confused as to what this was. Like, if the last location was Dinosaur Jungle, which is something else that we know, what is this? There's nowhere... I briefly considered it being like a Forces level, but I'm like, no, nowhere in Forces looks like this. But like in the background, you can see, you know, more of Prison Island and stuff. And it's just so weird seeing Metal Harbor with an updated coat of paint. And I was wigging, like I was trying to figure out what it was. I wasn't even paying attention to the music. Like the music should have been a dead giveaway as to what this was. I feel so dumb. So you do still have wisps, it looks like. I see Big he has like a wisp with a crown? Like a cyan wisp in the back? He definitely has a laser wisp following him, I can tell. Or no, is that a white wisp? That might be a white wisp. But he has like I wonder if the king wisp is gonna be like the golden mushroom, where you can just like keep using it over and over and over again. And then this, I thought they were just recycling levels from All Stars Racing Transformed. No, dude, this is Pirate Storm. I'm pretty sure this is Pirate Storm, also from Secret Rings. And this kind of threw me off, because I don't remember a Kraken, I don't remember a fucking Gooper Blooper being Sonic in the Secret Rings, so this kind of threw me off, but like, it has to be Pirate Storm. And then you have like the Adventure 2 looking ghosts like on the ships, which are not like the Djinn from Secret Rings. You have the Drill Wisp. Okay, honestly, that was something else that I hadn't really paid much attention to. I'm really glad that they are using the wisps as power-ups for the racing game. Because a lot of people, I get it. I get a lot of people don't like the wisps. I like the wisps, but I think that their function is better as an item in a multiplayer game, rather than a main mechanic in the Sonic games. I 100% will stand by that. It looks like you can use different extreme gear. You're not tied to like, oh, here's Sonic, he has to use Blue Star, right? He has like what looks like this looks like Storm's extreme gear, actually. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if both Storm and Wave were in this. That looks like Storm's gear. That doesn't look like Tails' gear. But I could be wrong. This level right here that I'm looking at is like a Chow Park, it looks like. They didn't really show this off. It's like a Chow-themed amusement park, which is really cool. Again, it's giving hardcore Mario Kart 8 vibes. Hardcore. Yeah, Chow Park is what they call it. But that was basically like all they showed off for that trailer. And I'm like, oh man, there was a lot to glean from there. But apparently there is a lot more to it than that too, which is crazy. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. I just remembered Cream was playable in Dream Team. I said, when was the last time Cream was playable? It was literally like 2 years ago. There is something else I want to talk about, and the only reason why is because it came out like literally maybe an hour or within the hour of that trailer coming out, and it was an IGN like exclusive thing where they go more in depth about what is in this game, who is in this game, all the features and stuff. And I feel like that is close to next to as official as it gets. Like, I feel like that's not, you know, anybody spoiling anything, because they were given permission to talk about this and show this off. So I feel more inclined and I feel better about like showing it off and talking about it with you guys, just because this was information that was given to us from, you know, basically an official source. Now, I will say, there is something about this video that really bugs the hell out of me. And it is that the bitrate is garbage. Like, they start off the video incredibly not strong, right? Like, and far be it from me to, like, give them crap about this. Just be like, oh, your video's bad because it's not, like, smooth, sharp, whatever. But I feel like when you are given the source materials to do gaming coverage, why would you not want to put this out in the highest quality possible? It's not like you can't do it, right? Like, you are, to an extent, a reputable gaming source. So I don't know why the entire video having, like, this really low bitrate almost makes it feel like I'm not supposed to be able to watch this. This is leaked footage when it's not. It's not leaked footage. This is official. Like, they were given permission to do this. Something else that I've noticed about this too that is also kind of it kind of bugs me a little bit, and it bugs me because it makes the game look worse than it is. The announcement trailer was in smooth 60 frames. This is not. This is locked in at 30, but I believe that to be not a capture issue but a video issue. I think if I can check the stats, hold on. Sorry. 24. So it is a 1080 video, 1080p video rendered at 24 frames, which gives the illusion that the frame rate is choppy. Again, not a great look, right? I don't know why they did this. Like, they're kind of just I get it. It's IGN. It's IGN covering Sonic, but like it does make the game look bad. Right? It makes it look like, a racing game not at 60? I don't know about that. But it like, from what we saw in the announcement trailer, it is. It's just that this video is rendered in a weird format. So this is another thing too. The red rings. That's something else that makes me feel like that might just be a gameplay mechanic, obviously. But like, the fact that they're even bothering to put like challenges and red rings and collectibles and stuff, it gives me more hope that there is like at least maybe a little bit of a story, right? I know that the two concepts have nothing to do with each other, but like, I feel like if they're going out of their way to put enough effort to do one, usually on the story front, they don't cheap out that much. I don't know. I'm rationalizing it in my own way, but like, for some reason I saw a red ring, I'm like, ooh, why are red rings here? But then, you know, there's games like Sonic 4 Episode 2 where there are red rings for no reason. Oh, yeah. King Boom Boo is an item, which I thought was hilarious, especially with, like, his rainbow sunglasses. I thought that was hilarious. Like, I freaked out when I saw this. I was like, whoa, what? Bro, that's awesome. Oh, I didn't even notice that. There are gun robots as, like, stage hazards. That's so cool. Oh, I love that. I just realized that we have the reveal that, like, Ocean Palace is here, too. That was a little weird and kind of disappointing to me because, like, we've had Seaside Hill / Ocean Palace in, like, what, the last 3 games? It was I think it was an All-Star Actually, I think it was in the first one too, wasn't it? I think it was in All-Stars Racing. It was an All-Stars Racing Transformed. It was in Team Sonic Racing. And now it's here again, and it's just like, okay, Seaside Hill Ocean Palace is just like the Green Hill Zone of the racing games. It has to be here every time. And don't get me wrong, I like it. I love its aesthetic. I just don't get why it's here every time, you know? So here, I see like an alien planet. Like, it looks like a Mars kind of planet on the left. I don't know that he goes to it. I think he does go to Pirate Storm, but I don't know what that planet is. Maybe it's something colors related, but it doesn't look like anything I recognize. I could be wrong. Okay, so it sounds like the monster truck item, or the monster truck power-up, is akin to like the bullet bill. Like, it transforms into this big-ass thing that like plows through enemies. Like, you can go through all kinds of terrain, no problem. It sounds like it's like the bullet bill equivalent. So even if you go to 1, in this case, you know, you're starting on Ocean Palace. Lap 2 will then be Pirate Storm. Lap 3 will be like, maybe it'll be like Ocean Palace again, or it will just be like a third world. That's really cool, actually. That almost harkens to the DLC tracks from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where like they were based off of the tracks in Mario Kart Tour. Let's say that you had like Paris Promenade. there were like 3 different versions of Paris Promenade, and so what they did was they just combined them into one, where like each lap represented like a different path you could take. This almost seems a lot like that, where it's just like, you know, lap 1 is one level, lap 2 is another level, lap 3 is another level. It's pretty unique. Oh, okay, so I didn't even notice this one. It looks like the one that is not the space level, the one on the right, it looks like it's Bingo Highway or Casino Park, which is, that's not what it was called in Team Sonic Racing. And I think there was a level similar to it in All-Stars Racing too. I think so. So again, they are kind of reusing levels from Team Sonic Racing and All-Stars, but they are still Sonic levels and they're still very Sonic themed levels, so I don't necessarily mind that they're reusing them. I really hope that a lot of the stages that they do use are unique. Because like if we get like Planet Wisp and stuff, that's fine, but I also want original tracks, right? Like Metal Harbor, I mean, granted, Metal Harbor is a reused track, Dinosaur Jungle is a reused track, whatever, but like, reuse things that you have not reused yet, is I guess what I'm trying to say. What is this? I don't know what this is at all, unless this is from something I'm not familiar with. This honestly looks way more Mario-esque than anything else. There was a stage in All-Stars Racing Transform that this reminds me a lot of. What was it? Lava Layer, I think it is. Yeah, that's what this reminds me of. But apparently, I looked this up, and apparently this is called Lava Cave, which is based on a Sega game called Veltior, which I've never heard of before. Or sorry, it's based on Veltior from a game called Galaxy Force, which I'd never heard of before, meaning that they're not constraining themselves to just Sonic stuff, meaning they can just bring in whatever they want from anywhere, Sega-wise, which is interesting. Because I was like, what is this? Like, I've never seen this place before. I see it now. Okay, yeah, okay, I see it now. Hold on, I see it now. Okay, there it is, yeah. So, that answers my earlier question. You start off on one stage, lap 2 takes place on an alternate world, and then lap 3 takes you back to the main course. I see, okay. That makes a lot of sense. I like that. I think I like that more than the alternative. I feel like it maybe just becomes a little bit too random at that point, but this reviewer does say that the third lap, so like when you come back to the main course, it is different. Like it's not the same as your first lap, which is also really cool. Like it's taking you back to a familiar place, but you're also not doing lap 1 all over again, which is really nice. Instead of having 3 completely different things, you have one thing, something different, and then something familiar, but it's not the same thing that you've experienced before. Very, very nice. I actually really, really like how that's set up. You know, when I see the characters doing all these flips and stuff, all I can think of is, man, I wish this was just a Sonic Riders game. Because like I kind of understand, right? I understand why they're sticking with the karts. It's probably a lot easier. It's like in terms of suspension of disbelief, like it's easier to make the cars transform into planes and boats and whatever. But I feel like you could, I don't know, man. I really feel like you could have just done this with the Sonic Riders formula, especially if you are just including extreme gear. I don't know. I just think the cars are silly. I like the extreme gears are a lot more of a Sonic vibe, if that makes sense. I think that's why I like the extreme gear more than the cars, just because the cars feel like, why? I don't know. I don't have a good reasoning for it. I know a lot of people are disappointed about the Deadly Six being here. Dude, whatever. I just wish that they were developed. I wish that they were developed characters, but I mean, I'm not gonna be upset that they're in a racing game where you can choose to not play as them. I'm also not gonna be like upset that you know, whatever, right? They keep trying to make them a thing, just like with with the Wisps, their power-ups, with the Deadly Six, they're just here trying to race karts, you know? I don't know. I'm not super upset about it. I feel like Zaz is the only other member of the Deadly Six that they include, maybe even more than Zavok. And I feel like Zavok has to be here. Like, if Zaz is here, Zavok has to be here, because he was in Team Sonic Racing. I don't think they would just drop him, and I think that maybe you do see him? So here's where you can actually see Zaz in the car, which is really cool. Also, there are 2 Zazes here. There are 2 Zazes, right? Why have a single Tangle or one Whisper when you can have 2 Zazzes. So what that indicates to me is that like you can probably select the same character as maybe as many times as you want, and just select, you know, their own vehicle, right? Which is pretty cool. I kind of like that, and yet I kind of don't. I think it's kind of weird because like at the same time, like kids aren't gonna fight over like, oh, I wanted to be Zaz. No, I wanted to be Zaz. Like, oh, you can both be Zaz. You can each have your own car, whatever. So the option is nice. It sounds like you can customize your karts a whole lot, which is really, really cool. Because you kind of could in Team Sonic Racing, from what I remember. Kind of. I don't remember the mechanics that well. But I do remember that there was some kind of customization options in that game. So, but here it sounds like it's a lot more robust. It sounds like it's a lot more like you can really make it what you want your car to be, which is really cool. So there the reviewer's talking about how there's one of the ways that you can customize your cars is like adding the ability to like bump into them and get a speed boost off of that, almost like slinging off of them like you kind of do in Team Sonic Racing, even though that's like the sort of slingshot you trail behind them. Here, it's if you bump into them, you get a speed boost, but also like you can get rings off of them, which increases your top speed. And if everybody equips that, like it's gonna encourage everybody to bump into each other all the time, which sounds really chaotic, but also like really fun. Like here we can see, oh my god, that T-Rex is disturbing. But also like, man, just these screenshots by themselves, like the game looks very, very pretty. Wait, whoa. Wait, I haven't seen this stage. Is this Uranus Island? Or what? Because this has to be. Well, I don't know if it has to be, but it looks very similar to like the layout of Uranus Island from Frontiers. And the reason it gives me that vibe is because of like the colored flowers. But I don't know that that's listed as one of the levels. But maybe it is? Rainbow Garden. Oh, whoa, Rainbow Garden. Okay, that's the name of it. So this is Dynasty. Okay, so these screenshots, which have been officially revealed on this website, have names. So this is Dinosaur Jungle, which we knew. This is, okay, it's just called Shadow Air Trick, but that's Water Palace. That's Water Palace from Sonic Rush. So I found out about this a couple days ago, and it blew my mind, dude, because we've never gotten like a Sonic Rush or a Sonic DS, Sonic handheld thing in like full 3D like this before.
Oh wow, actually, Sonic Rush has the italicized font too. Possible Sonic Rush reference?
Like this is Water Palace from Sonic Rush, dude. That's crazy, and it's so disappointing that the photo is titled Shadow Air Trick. And then this Amy one is just called Rainbow Garden, which I'm assuming is the name of the stage. But again, how it's set up reminds me a lot of the Starfall Islands. So I feel like this is taking place on the Starfall Islands. I could be wrong about that, though. And then this one is Kraken Bay, which was not the name of the stage in Secret Rings, which leads me to believe this may be something different, but I feel like it still might be based off of Pirate Storm. I feel like it is. Featuring iconic characters in the Sonic the Hedgehog and Sega universes. What does that mean? So it's not just Sonic? There's the Standard Edition and the Digital Deluxe Edition, which, if you guys know me at all, you know that I hate this. I absolutely despise this. But I was thinking about this somewhat recently, and I thought to myself, like, wait, okay. There is sort of an advantage to this, and I can kind of see the vision a little bit. Obviously, most people are probably going to opt for the Digital Deluxe Edition, which is just price inflated for no reason. But also, you have a discounted priced version of it where it's just like, if you're not interested in playing it early, if it doesn't matter to you that you play it early or not, if you don't want the extra characters or whatever, you can you can get a cheaper version of this game, which is a lower point of entry for more people to experience Sonic games. And when I thought of it that way, I was like, oh, wait, okay. Granted, why wouldn't you want the most complete version of this game? I know I do. But also, like, if that doesn't matter to you, that's still kind of a good way of getting more people probably invested into Sonic, where it's just like, okay, I don't need to buy the $60 version of it. There's this $40 version, and I can play it just fine, right? I don't have these extra characters or this whatever, but I can play it, and I've realized I like it, and no, I like Sonic now. So when I started to think about it that way, I was like, okay, I don't know that that justifies a digital deluxe edition, but I can kind of understand it more, right? Like if you're going at this from the idea that like the digital deluxe edition is the standard edition, it's the version that like it's the complete version, and then you have this other version where it's like you don't get as many they call it the standard version, but really what it is just like a version of the game that's stripped of its components to be cheaper, which I think is kind of shitty. But again, if it's an easier barrier of entry for potential fans, I get it. I don't like it, but I understand it. You know, it says it right there, Sonic Prime playable characters, which is very interesting because you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be one of each? Is it going to be like 9 Thorn Rose, Pirate Knuckles? Like, is it going to be from all these characters from different dimensions, or is it going to be like, what's the deal there, right? I do wonder what the deal there is. There's Roulette Road. And there's Zaz. Warp through travel rings to new CrossWorlds, including a unique gameplay mechanic transporting the iconic characters from the Sonic and Sega universes into new dimensions that make every race feel unique. So that's something else to note, is that they're saying Sonic and Sega universes. But this is not a Sonic and Sega All-Stars game. This is specifically Sonic Racing. But they're specifically saying, too, characters from the Sonic and Sega universes. So it's probably going to be more... I mean, we already saw that one stage, Lava Cave, is from a game that's not a Sonic game. But what does that mean? Like, maybe this won't have a story then. Maybe not. Race across land, sea, and air in a superpowered vehicle. And superpowered vehicles and extreme gear hoverboard. So, okay. I was a little concerned because, like, on the little billboards in that one stage from the CGI cutscenes, it had the word airboard on it, and I'm like, oh, are they changing the name? I hope they don't change the name. No, they're still calling them Extreme Gear. Featuring the largest roster of any Sonic racing game with 23 racers at launch and a ton more on the way. So 23 at launch, plus whoever we're getting afterward, like maybe, because it did say like there was like a season pass or something. Yeah, DLC season pass, which probably includes more characters and more stages as well. Not counting the Sonic Prime playable characters. More tracks than ever before, race across 24 main tracks and use travel rings to transport to 15 CrossWorlds. Okay. Wow. All right. So that's 39 locations? Yeah. And we don't even know half of them so far. To try and guess like which of them are going to be here, because again, I couldn't even start to predict like which ones are in this, because again, we know some of them, but then others are complete, like Water Palace, Dinosaur Jungle, Kraken Bay, Velcor. Like all of these are just like I could never have even guessed that they were going to be in this game. Mix and match characters and vehicles to find the perfect combo. I really like that. I like that they're not tying characters to the vehicles anymore. Enjoy 3 main modes played with 1 to 4 players locally or up to 12 players online: Grand Prix, Race Park, and Time Attack. Gather friends or compete against a community of players from around the world with online crossplay. Increase the fun with even more great features like challenges and frenzy mode. So there might not be a story mode in this one then, because I feel like they would have talked about it by now. I feel like, oh wow, okay, this is how they show the customization. Make it yours. Utilize a deep customization system to trick out your ride with a unique look and feel. Customize your vehicle to create the ultimate machine to match your racing style. Swap out parts and equip over 70 different gadgets to increase vehicle and power-up performance. So E-Stadium is the one from the trailers. That's what it's called, E-Stadium. Which again, Electrodrome Stadium. We all know that's what it is. Rainbow Garden, which I maintain, I think is part of the Starfall Islands. Water Palace. So that's officially Water Palace right there from Sonic Rush, which is dope. That's awesome. Metal Harbor from Adventure 2. Ocean View is what they're calling it. And then you have the Wonder Museum. What's this? The Wonder Museum. This almost, you know what this looks like? It reminds me of 2 Point Museum, which is another Sega game. And I wonder if that's what it's based off of. Warp to 15 CrossWorlds. Okay, so Roulette Road is not a main stage. Roulette Road it's a CrossWorld. There's Dinosaur Jungle from Secret Rings, Kraken Bay, which again I believe is also from Secret Rings, or maybe it's based off of something else. Lava Cave, which as we mentioned before is based off that other Sega game, Galaxy Force. And then Sky Road, which was like my favorite stage, or was it? Is this what I'm thinking of? Yeah. Sky Road from Team Sonic Racing. Which really sucks, because there is another level called Sky Road from Lost World, but it's not based off that. It's based off of Spagonia from Unleashed. So it's pretty confusing, but Sky Road was like one of my favorite stages. I think it was my favorite stage in Team Sonic Racing, and it's back in as a CrossWorld in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. It looks like it has a different color scheme, though, and this one is very Mario Kart, but it was pretty Mario Kart in the original as well. So, like, I don't know. That was really cool. And yeah, here we see choose from over 23 different characters: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Cream and Cheese, Eggman, Omega, Zaz, and many more to be announced. And I believe are these all new renders? I think these are all new renders. So here's something else that I completely forgot to mention. You know how earlier I was talking about that Rouge had to be in this because she was featured on a banner next to Jet in one of the... right before they do the CrossWorlds thing. At the very beginning, when everybody spawns in from their transport rings, you see a huge-ass banner in E Stadium with even more characters in the background. You see Omega, who we know is playable. We see Vector, who we know is playable. We see Jet, who we know is playable. But alongside them, we also see Espio. We see Charmy. We see Wave. We see Storm. There's Sage. I see Sage in there. I see Zaz, both of whom we know are playable. There's Zavok there as well, so we can confirm that he's there too. There's Cream. I see Metal Sonic. And Eggpon. Okay. So Eggpon's Blaze. So that... wow, dude. That confirms... I mean, essentially, right? If we're to believe that the people on these screens are also playable, which... there's no reason not to believe that, given that half of the people on those screens we know are playable from this trailer. Again, like, I'm looking at... just from this one that I'm looking at, Metal Sonic is playable, Cream is playable, we know Sage is playable, Jet is playable, Zaz is playable. So, like, most people on that bottom row, that only leaves Blaze, Zavok, and Eggpon, which, why wouldn't they be, right? On top, we know Omega's playable, we know Vector's playable, so that's crazy to me. That, like, this is the first game. This is, like, the first console game probably ever that features, like, every single character from Heroes, plus the Babylon Rogues, plus, like, Team Egg, like, everyone on Team Eggman. Like, you have Eggman, Sage, like, the only people honestly missing there are Orbot and Cubot. And honestly, like, for some reason, I see them not being playable, and that kind of sucks, because I kind of wish they were, because there's no reason for them not to be at this point, you know what I mean? Like, if you can make an Eggpon playable, like, a character who's literally never been playable before, you can make Orbot and Cubot, like, a single unit. But, I'm not complaining. That is incredible to me. That is really cool. Also, something I've noticed about Sage, her design in both this trailer and in that screen, and this is kind of huge. She is not how she is in Frontiers. She does not have her red data, her like red corruption. She has her white and blue, like when she's happy, when she feels love. That's such a nice touch, and honestly, I kind of like, because I'm used to her like corruption design, because that's how she mostly presented in Frontiers. But if her official design is this like non-corrupted, like just cyber Sage look, I'm fine with that. That's really cool. Something else that I had not noticed is that this is being developed by Sonic Team, and the reason why, like, you could say like, okay, so every racing game, every Sonic and Sega All-Stars racing game, and even Team Sonic Racing, they were all developed by Sumo Digital, which was a third party that was developing those games, not Sonic Team. The last racing game they developed was Free Riders? They were the ones that developed the Riders games, is what I mean. Like, they didn't do Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, they didn't do Transform, they didn't do Team Sonic Racing, and so for them to do this racing game, I don't know what that means for the quality of the game. I don't know that that necessarily means it's going to be good. I mean, they did develop free riders, but this is not a Kinect game. So that does give me a little bit more hope. You know, I love the original writers. I love Zero Gravity. And I mean, hell, even if they are taking like the code, or if they're basing it heavily off of All-Stars Racing Transformed, which was Sumo Digital, that's still huge, because like All-Stars Racing Transformed is great. Team Sonic Racing I also really enjoyed. I think I said this when I played Team Sonic Racing. If they just refine how driving feels in these games, these could be really good kart racers. And from what I'm looking at, this could be the best Sonic kart racer. Like, it could be the best Sonic racer, period, I think. And I really hope that's true. It looks like a ton of fun. The roster is nuts. I love the roster. Like, this is... Seriously, dude, I want you to think about that. We've never had a game where you can play as every character from Sonic Heroes since Sonic Heroes. Because usually it's just like, oh, you can play as just Espio, or you can play as just Vector, or Vector and Espio. Charmy hasn't been playable since Heroes. Charmy B has not been playable since Sonic Heroes. And if he's in this game... wow. Like, that's nuts. And on top of that, like, it's not just all 12 characters from Sonic Heroes, it's the bad guys from Heroes as well. Eggman and Metal Sonic, plus the Babylon Rogues, plus, like, plus Blaze and Silver, plus, like, everybody. This is the Smash Brothers Ultimate of Sonic. Everybody is here. The only thing I really, at this point, that I would love to see... There are two things that I would love to see. Because apparently they are going to add, like, other Sega characters, which... whatever. That's, like, I always thought it was cool when they added, like, I and Ulala and, like, you know, Samba de Amigo. Or, sorry, his name is just Amigo. But, like, other Sega properties in Sonic Riders, right? All-Stars was just, like, a celebration of all of Sega. They're going to, but I don't care for them to do it in this one. Mostly because, like, you have already so many characters in the Sonic universe already. That I feel like... you could just incorporate them. Like, if you're doing Sonic Prime characters, if you're doing Sonic Prime variations of these characters, there's no reason that you can't also include variations from other universes, and that you can't include characters from other universes, right? So, like, if you wanted to do, especially if there's not a story mode, dude, go nuts. Include Chaos, include Tikal, include Tangle, include Whisper, like, include all these characters that people want to see. Like, this is the one place, and even if there was a story mode, right, I feel like you could justify it with the CrossWorlds mechanic, but if there was ever a time to do this, right, and if there was ever a time where I would be okay with this, it's in this game, mostly because you're justifying it with a cross-dimensional mechanic, and I think that is a great way to incorporate all of these elements. I'm genuinely excited for this. I might be playing the closed network test, but we shall see. And if I am, I would love to see you there. I'd love to race against you, and I'd love to race against you when this game comes out. But until next time, I'm going to not talk anymore. Stay safe, stay awesome. I hope you guys think that this game is as exciting as I think it is. It's nothing, you know, it's not a new mainline title just yet, but for what it is, it looks really good, and that's really exciting. It's exciting to know that even a Sonic spin-off in this day and age can be good. And it's not just, you know, Frontiers was good, not everybody loved it, but a lot of us think that it's great. Shadow Generations, pretty much across the board, people thought was great. And now we have something that it looks like a lot of people will also have the consensus is pretty damn good. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome. This is Jar5, signing off.